Welcome back to another Rise of Kings video. Today we're going to go over armaments, which is super exciting, but also actually a lot more complicated than you may think. The easiest way to understand this is a slot machine. It is basically a slot machine where, and I'm going to explain all this in depth. I'm going to start with just basics, build the state forum, what does that give? I'm going to go into how do you get legendary inscriptions, not armaments, but inscriptions for your armaments, what you're trying to build towards, what's the strategy to getting actually the best armaments in the game. We're going to go through all of it. So first off, when you just exit your KVK, you will get this, which says you can build the state forum, gives you some meaningless stuff, and you can go in your city and you go to your editor and you see this thing called the state forum. So this is where you get your armaments, besides, traveling, or besides chests and things like that. We'll go over all of it. So very, very, very similar to books from the castle or arrows from the watchtower. Maybe not at the first level, but you're going to see that we have this currency called Sage's Testimony. And it's exactly like I said, it's just like a book. So what you need to do is you upgrade this, and each time you get a travel chance, you get a dispatch at level 10, which you're rushing for. And then, you get some more chances, etc., etc. But you're upgrading with your testimonies here, right? So I'm not going to show all of this because it's pretty straightforward. You just upgrade it. Basically, the thing I'm going to stress to you as a free-to-play, because these cost 10 gems, or you can get it from your dispatch, which I will get at level 10, and I can show you. But you can see the cost, right? I need 10, I'm missing 10, so it's costing me 100 gems. Also, each time you upgrade it, again, you get some here, so don't forget to do that. You can see the first few levels, right? They're completely free. So as we're upgrading this and we're waiting to actually get the armaments, let's look where you're going to go apply them. So you go right here, right under your equipment, you click this, and you see this very confusing screen because you don't know what you're looking at. And this is where you get into that slot machine I talked about. So each of these, think of it like a category. So each of them do things. Let's go with a good one, a standard one. The wedge formation does 5% more skill damage, right? Just good. It's good for anyone doing skill damage. Sun Tzu is obviously doing skill damage. Let's choose it. So basically, the next thing you do is now the 4 different slots on the slot machine, the first 4. And I actually didn't have, so I switched to Arch, which gives 5% more normal damage. And you see, so in this slot, you get the instrument, and the instrument, which is just this item, the horn, it gives these percent stats. And so the whole game you're playing here is you're re-rolling your armaments. You're doing complete RNG slot machine, like I said, to get stats. And eventually, you want to get some good ones, like the ones I'm going to show off on my main later. Now, another thing you'll see here is War Cry. What is this? It's the inscription that I mentioned earlier. So you can see there's a handful of them. There's a lot more than that. We can actually look at the codex here and see that for each different type, for each different slot, they have a legendary one, which is massively powerful. And they have a rare one, which is also very powerful, depending on the slot, especially like Wedge, for instance. The Boiling Blood one is super powerful, even though it's epic. Hunter, Craze, both decent. We could talk about this for a while. There's so many different things, right? But basically what you need to know, the ultimate strategy to getting the best armaments possible, is to focus on one formation, okay? Now this may be confusing, because if you're going infantry, you're going to go with smite focus, because they become smite. If you're going with archers, they stay skill focused as of right now. If you're going with cavalry, they go combo focused. You go with the delta formation. Now, am I speaking insane gibberish? No, let's go look, right? So if you see here, pincer, which does 10% more smite damage, your infantry are going to start doing smite damage in KVK2 with CJ, who's a commander. So these are the things you want to move in on, right? You want to work on this. Even though your infantry like Sun Tzu does wedge, you may not want to work on wedge because it's not going to be relevant past KVK2 if you're only using infantry. Now, this gets more complicated, right? And we can talk about other things. Again, delta, here's your combo equivalent for your cavalry when you're using Arthur and things like that later in the game. There's some more complicated choices, like, again, I'll just briefly say, like Arch, normal damage, it works for certain Attila builds, which again, later in the game, don't worry about that right now. But why is it so imperative that you choose one and you stick with it? And I can show some of my main again. Everything you do is for these legendary inscriptions. They're beyond rare to get, to the point where I've spent thousands of dollars on my main on armaments specifically. And I only have 2. And neither of those 2 were given from any system other than the guarantee system in KVK. So that is another important topic. Every KVK you win, and you get an autarch, which is just winning basically and doing a good job. Very easy to get them if you're not in a crazy ally situation. But anyways, you get a free legendary choice inscription of the scroll slot. Okay? Again, I will repeat that. the scroll slot. So this one right here. So in other words, this slot, you are guaranteed to get the inscription you want. So the wish list, you're no longer looking at the scroll slot because you're guaranteed to get that somewhere else. Now, you're also, I can go into it. Now, if we look at our, it's just something I should probably talk about as well. If we go into our courier station, which we usually use for this, if you click it and you see this icon, this is what we get when we scrap armaments, which just means we don't like them, let's recycle them. And you get these currencies. So you can get these, which let you choose, you know, RNG, hopefully you get a good one. You can see here the odds. These let you re-roll the stats on inscribed ones. You can use hundreds of these, hundreds, and never even see a single stat you like. And then these are the testimonies used to upgrade. So very good. Every single person who is not maxing the state form on day one should be buying this as top priority. And then we can go from there, right? But realistically, this is most important. You can get some of these too. Realistically, it's very up to the person, but these need to be done. Then this is where it gets dicey. Basically, you choose, this is a legendary inscription for your flag spot. Your flag spot. But to get it, you need 180 legendary armaments scrapped. So that's not legendary inscription, but legendary armaments scrapped. And you need 8 of these. So you get 1 for 180, and you need 8 of them. Now, it is true that a legendary inscribed armament will give more of this currency, okay? But it's obvious that this takes a really long time. So I think what I'm going to do is go to my main, because my main can show you this and how it looks as almost a more refined finished result. And so now that we're on my main with a max state form, I'll also show you what a travel looks like in a dispatch. But let's finish talking about what we're talking about. So if you go into my wedge, you'll see I'm at 8 pity because I've got an 8 of these rares, 8 of these blue inscriptions, and I have not yet gotten a legendary yet. One of these yellows, as you can see, right? Now, what am I talking about when I say these legendaries? We're referring to stuff like this, Hunter. Now, why am I telling you this, right? We're basically quizzing you on your knowledge that I just said. Why do I have one here, but I have never gotten it here, and I still haven't gotten the pity 10? It's because I got it from the KVK rewards, like I mentioned earlier. So again, the scroll slot, you get it from your KVK rewards. The other 2 slots here, there is no way to get it as of right now in this game than RNG. Now, there may be some changes to that in the near future. We certainly hope so. But as of right now, there's absolutely no way. And so it is absolutely imperative that you choose these slots. You know, it doesn't really matter to my knowledge, and I will put a pinned comment if someone corrects me. But as long as you're choosing these 2 slots, you are okay. Now, the reason I say not to do this slot, the flag, is because of what I just showed you a minute ago, which is that in here, even though it takes a really long time, you can buy the legendary inscription for the flag. Now, you can see here, me having spent thousands of dollars, I am still almost just getting there. And it has taken me some time. I had taken a break, which delayed me, but you could see, you need to make good decisions because it is hard to do. So let's take a look at this dispatch, right? What you do is you click a commander. These supposedly have better rates. I think right here it tells you that they, get lucky. I don't even know what it means, but just click the ones up there. And then you have to make a decision. So you click this here, the preferred formations. And basically it's saying you're going to get formations, armaments in these formations. So like I chose my archer one, the wedge, the pincer for the infantry, and the delta for my cav. Now in KVK2, this is a little different, right? Because you're almost only going to have smite and skill damage because you're not really using combo commanders. Bert, who is the combo commander for cav, isn't very powerful, and everything else is kind of the same. So realistically, you're probably running a wedge, pincer, which is this, and then the last one you have a little bit more liberty with. You probably want to start working on your delta for later KVKs. That's what I would recommend. However, what I will point out, and this is why it's important that you stick with this video, it is important to note that in January, you are getting a new formation for skill damage. And so it is something to consider that you may not need your wedge formation after this. And so if you heavily invest in it, let's say you are me, right? I'm not going to want to touch wedge when the new skill damage formation comes out. Because I'll be like, oh my god, why would I use a 5% skill damage when, I don't know, let's say a 10% comes out. Something like that, right? But you need to finish your wish list. And that's why it's so important to focus on one, get to 10, get a legendary, and let's say, oh my god, it's on wedge, but that means I'm stuck on wedge. This is so useless, right? Why do I care that it's on wedge? Why do I need to get the legendary there? I'm not going to use it. Well, it's because of this. So let's say I just finished the wedge. I have my hunter. I click this button here, and it gives me the option for a pretty expensive fee to convert it. And so if I click convert or confirm, you can see it changes my hunter over to sharpshooter, which is the legendary scroll for the V formation, the siege formation, which is what I'm doing on my restart. This is the most important thing. You hard focus one type and then you convert. So I'm just gonna, just for the heck of it, I also am lucky enough to have a triggered thing, and look at the RNG. Good job for me. So like these, I don't need on this account. They're not helpful. These are inscriptions. You can see it says, you know, increase attack by 3 or 2.5. Increase research loads. Totally useless, right? You can see I never need this piece. What did I get here? Loosed, which is actually a decent one for V. Well, in V formation, whenever they launch a range basic, there's a 10% chance to deal range. Honestly, this is a really good one for siege. I'm just gonna, you do this, you lock it. But if I was on my restart, I would be freaking out happy right now. But you can see, right? You can get some pretty interesting things. It's all RNG. None of these are useful for this account. But when you're just starting out, there's a better chance for them to be useful, right? So again, all of this is useless. Check this, nothing good on it. You just bulk recycle. You get that material that I talked about much earlier on, where you go to your courier station and you get to trade it in. Now, I don't have Sage Testimony because I finished my forum, but the next important thing to talk about is your dispatch. It's the same sort of thing. You choose 3 formations. You send out a dispatch, which just, you click your commanders basically. Here I press quick so you can see it pairs my commanders for me and it sends them out. The most important thing to note about this, and I believe they tell you it, but you may not really take much note, is that when you're opening the dispatch commendations, you get the flag and emblem. So that's this, right? And you can see it here. Flag and emblem, they're the rare slots compared to the scroll. You definitely want to focus it. Oh, I didn't travel. Select commander. As I showed, you choose your formations you want, and then you spend some AP to travel. Now, I didn't get anything, but if you do get an inscription, you will get a cutscene. So here I got a legendary, but I didn't get a cutscene, which means I didn't get anything good, basically. None of these are useful for this account. So everything you just witnessed today was all scrapped and not used. It was all deemed useless for my account. That is how detrimental it is. Now, you can buy some things, right? You can buy this, which I have running. It is bad. You should not do it. I did it just because I'm a whale kind of on this account. I spend a lot more. It is not worth doing. It is bad. You have other things, like in the super value, you get royal armaments. This is also a bad bundle. I would not buy this. It is for whales to spend on armaments. Whales spend on armaments. No one else. And there's one better bundle than this that triggers every so often. Not worth it. If you're going to buy anything, conversion stones have a lot of value because, like I showed you earlier, you're going to eventually need to convert everything. When wedge is bad because January comes out with a crazy formation, you're going to need to convert it all. So it's vital that you do that properly. You must plan it properly. And there's one more cool thing, kind of important, that I'm going to show you, which is, right in my events, I actually have the Armament Reveal Thyself event on my main. So basically what I do, I'm not going to do the event because it's, again, a whale event. Armaments are for whales to invest in. You go wedge. Well, everyone does it, right? But you're not supposed to really invest. I'm not going to go into the details of this event, but you can see it's a way to get armaments. You just buy these tickets with gems. I don't think there's a bundle, but with gems, maybe there is, who knows. And basically you buy these. It's just RNG again. You do have a good guaranteed legendary formation, right? Where you chose wedge, and now I'm going to get guaranteed stuff. So you can see it right up in here. Basically, you get guaranteed. On the first one, you get all 3 stats will be the same, but you may not get an inscription. In the second one, you're guaranteed an inscription, but you get random stats, right? So you're just constantly re-rolling. Who knows? There's a couple ways to game the system, but I'm not going to go too in-depth into the event itself. That could be another video if people are interested. Now, I want to show off what I am doing. I don't know if it's the best plan, but this is what I think in my head at least. I think it is worth spending gems, and unfortunately, we're literally getting this the day after more than gems. Would have been massive value otherwise. But regardless, the reason I'm still upgrading with gems is for the dispatch. And the reason I want this, and I'm going to show this to you, is you get the option to do a dispatch really, for the Sage Testimony. So if we go in here, they give me a little like, just click this thing. You can see, right? I get those choice chests that you saw me open. I get these RNG random things. But if you scroll to the bottom, you get these testimonies. And each one of these, right, you get 10. And you're getting gems. So for my account, I'm a siege main. I need V, because this is how you get into siege mode. Again, bad idea for everyone. Totally bad idea. I am a siege main. This is what I'm doing. For city defense, because I'm building a city defense thing, I do this. No one should do that, but that's what I'm doing, so whatever. And then I'm not entirely sure for my account what comes third, because Wedge, again, is being replaced pretty soon. I don't want to invest in that. Arch is kind of out of wayside by this point. Pincer, again, if you're going infantry, I haven't really committed to anything yet. This would be Cav, all those things. I haven't really committed to anything, so I think just for the time being, just because it has the longest lifespan, I guess I'll throw a Pincer out there. It is worth mentioning, to my current knowledge, as I talk off the top of my head, the cycle is Wedge being replaced, then I believe Combos being replaced, then Pincer. So Pincer is going to be in like May, which gives me the most time. But since I'm not really going with a CJ March, that means that it's literally doing nothing for me. So honestly, just for the KVK sake, I could go with like a Wedge. Since I plan to do a Martel Sun pairing, I could go with Arch. Like, there's a lot of options. For my account, it's not that important. But now that I've selected them, I could hit quick dispatch. I think what I'm going to do is, again, I will get that stuff. I'll get this stuff. And then we'll just, I only get 3, I guess, because I haven't upgraded yet. So that's how that works. It is imperative that you get it to that point, that you're unlocking those. I think I'm going to do more just because I want to keep pushing it. But you can see here, right? The courier station, upgrading your thing that you've been seeing, upgrading the building, gets you dispatch like I showed. Travel can also get you them. And I might as well show that now. So it's the same plan, right? So I'm going to go to travel. I'm going to go to my commander. It told me to use him. It's the same choice. And I'll choose to travel 10 times. See if I get anything good. So I actually did. I mean, this is bad, right? But I'm going to count with absolutely nothing. And so 2.6% siege attack is better than nothing, which I had nothing. So all of this is better than what I had before, like I mentioned. So I'll just lock some of the ones that I may use and then scrap some of the ones that I'm not going to use. I think for the time being, most of these are going to get scrapped because I still have time. So like all the blue ones, I don't even think I'm really going to look at. And you can see sometimes your luck triggers a windfall and you get a bonus one. That one's not particularly good. I do need to always keep in mind that these are not the same level of my main, and the goal and what I'm looking for shouldn't be the same level, but that's just something I'm going to have to learn. Is this the most efficient doing what I'm doing? Absolutely not. Please don't do this. It is imperative that you rush 10. I think everyone has to, free to play or not. But after that, I think you should chill a little bit for more than gems. I'm probably just going to push it as much as my gems will take me because it's kind of important to me to get that done. It's also one of those things where I really want a crazy siege set. So it's just something I want to start working on. So again, I choose my formation. You can see, oh, I don't have anything. Oh, I have something for this slot. So you just slowly start building it. So the Cav defense does nothing for me because I'm fielding siege, wish list. I'm not going to choose this slot because you get it guaranteed. You eventually will get the flag slot. And so I think I will choose the drum. It's fine for now. I could always change it. It's going to be forever before free-to-play ever gets there. It's not that important. And so with that said, that was a lot of content to cover. Please ask questions. It's very, very possible that I missed a thing or two in there. This is obviously a dense topic. There's a lot going on. Really, it boils down to you got to focus one type. And so it is important you start early on the right type. Like all of my chests are going to go into V because I am going Siege main. You shouldn't do something like this where you go Arch because that's stupid. Don't do it. If you're going to go Wedge, again, it would be a great idea, but I warn you that Wedge is going to be potentially replaced very soon. And so investing in Wedge when it could be replaced, I have to remember I'm not choosing Wedge like I do on my main, is a bit of a dicey situation, right? So just think those things through. It just kind of takes some calm thought, honestly, at the end of the day. It's nothing you can't figure out. It's nothing life-changing. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. It's a very dense topic. I will be even more responsive than usual. Again, I don't suggesting what I'm doing right now, but I'll be even more responsive than usual in the comments because of that. Please ask your questions in your VIP shop. Make sure you grab your dailies. But I do believe the SVIPs and VIP 19s can grab that. Most of you don't have that. Don't worry about it. Same with up here. It's honestly an insane buff. But VIP 19 gets a stone every day, which you can use to re-roll armaments that have inscriptions. I didn't actually show that off, but most of you shouldn't do it yet. You should just be stacking things. Just like with crafting equipment and spending gold heads especially, this is something that you don't want to re-roll, you don't want to convert, etc., until you're about to fight, because you may get a better thing, right? Let's say I think I have god tier stuff and I hard commit to it, and then I go travel and I get the best piece I've ever gotten. I'm going to be devastated. I just committed all my stuff to re-rolling, right? Because, oh my god, now I don't even use that. I just got something better, right? And I think you get it. It's pretty clear. Doesn't take a big brain power to get that. But yeah, so if you like this video, you got value, please do leave a comment. If you have questions, please ask. As I said, I will be super responsive in the comments this go around, more than I already am. But yeah, like, subscribe, bye-bye.